I have video of Tiger from the year 1995 all the way to now from the same exact camera angles. You can't go back to 1995 and get Tiger's swing. I have it.
If you 3-putt like me, or already a good golfer that just needs tips and tricks about putting, this coach might just blow your mind. He coaches the top players like Xander Schauffele, Phil Mickelson, Max Homa. Not only is he going to help me out today, but he's also going to partner up with me to get me from scratch to scratch golf, the ultimate goal on this channel. So without further ado, without wasting any time, let's get into it.
So talk to me about what your struggles are.
My struggles right now are 3 things. 1 is getting off the tee.
Okay.
2 is the mid-range shots, and 3 is the short game. So pretty much everything.
Okay.
But the thing that's very evident right now is I'll get a good shot in and I'm like, oh, on the green, and then ended up just losing so many strokes, just hitting like a 3 to 4 putt.
I would say that's pretty par for the course. Beginners don't know how to control speed. They don't know how to read break. They don't know where they're aiming. They don't know where their ball's starting. They don't know if their ball's launching or rolling. They just don't know. They just go and putt. You just bought that putter off the shelf?
Yeah, I went into a regular store. It's like, what's the best thing? They just handed me that club.
Yeah, and Spider's a great putter. There's a lot of guys on tour that use it. Optically, you look at it, there's white and blue, and there's lines and there's dots. And that may be good for some people, but not good for other people. At some point, we need to figure all that out.
Got it.
You know, in terms of where to start, my thing is if you can't read, putting's luck. So if you can't determine curvature, then
might as well gamble.
Yeah, and so if I can't determine curvature, how am I going to know how hard to hit it? So once a putt has curve, the speed has to be great in order for it to go in. If you can start the ball on the line that you want and the speed is good and the line is correct, barring any acts of randomness, hopefully, you know, you can make a putt. I guess the first thing that I want to do with you is just see what you see optically. Like, I don't even have a putter in my hand. I'm just going to try and determine how much tilt is in the ground. And then from there, we'll actually let you kind of do it.
Yeah.
And then the second part would be like the technical side. You know, how do you hold it? How do you stand? Where's the ball relative to your eyes? Where's the ball relative to your feet? The whole thing. Another thing, when you putt, do you use a line on the ball? So Xander is one of my guys. He uses a line and then he'll aim the line where he wants to hit the ball. Is that something you ever even thought of?
I've seen my buddies do it,
yeah.
But the only thing I've done is like, I'll pick like a line and then I'll just try to aim for like 2 feet
in front
there, and then that's
no matter how far you are.
Yeah.
Could be a 30-footer, could be a 3-footer.
Yeah, that's what I usually do.
So I don't mind that at all, but if that spot 2 feet out in front is off, then it's going to be exponentially off at the hole. 4.5 feet?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not very far. What do you see? Do you see any curve?
Let's see here.
This is gonna be great.
I know, it's gonna be bad. I see it tilted like slightly like this.
From the right to the left. So it's higher on the right than it is on the left. So, okay,
yes,
great.
Slightly.
And I would say that's true. We can measure it.
Yeah.
But when you're out on the golf course, you gotta look at it and you gotta be like, okay, I can see it tilting. So if you were to go through your whole pre-shot routine to make this putt, is this where you stand when you look?
Actually, yeah, I've usually been standing this far from the ball to see.
Okay, and that's fine.
Okay.
So if you were to place this tee up by the hole for the amount of curve there is, where would you place the tee? Like if you thought it was perfectly straight, you would put it like right behind the hole. If you thought it was gonna break 3 feet, you would put it out here.
Yeah, I was gonna just put it like right.
Okay, yeah, go ahead and stick it in the ground. If you go back to where we were, does that look like the correct kind of aim and starting line?
For me, I think so.
Okay.
If I give enough speed.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Right now, we're just kind of trying to figure out what you see. Would that point change if you moved to the other side of the hole? Does it look like more or less curve now, or does it look the same?
I'm not gonna lie to you, it kind of looks
like it's going the other way.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. I don't know that it does, but we can measure it. So actually go down there. And does it feel like the ground is tilting towards you from there?
I mean, this is a weird angle, but it seems like it's a little going downhill.
Going down away, so like kind of like the other side of the...
Yeah.
Okay. So this is a problem because like you're seeing a bunch of different like things. So if you were to go to the other side and look down, What does that look like to you?
Okay, so this one, again, looks more like there, where it's kind of like this, but
Okay.
almost like straight, but like a little bit.
Kind of subtle.
Subtle, very subtle.
Okay, so you were standing here before and you kind of squatted down behind your ball.
Yeah.
Okay, so now come back here. Does that give you a better view of the hole and the slope?
This kind of looks straight to me, like just...
Doesn't look like very much curve at all.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was your eyes. That was all by using your eyes. So now I want you to stand and straddle this golf ball with your feet and tell me what you feel with your feet.
It's like I'm kind of like leaning a little.
Okay, so go into the middle of it. Which way are you leaning?
This is like straight to me.
Okay, now go by the hole. Which way are you leaning?
I feel a little more on my right.
Okay, close your eyes and do it.
Okay, now it's kind of just even.
Okay.
Yeah.
So back up again, go back towards the ball. Ooh. Same thing, use your feet.
A little to the left.
Yeah,
Slightly.
can you guys even see him kind of leaning that way? Like physically looking at you, you're like the Leaning Tower of Pisa, like that. You can like use your body as a digital level. So have you seen the guys on TV that put their hands up and they're doing all these things with their fingers? So if you watch, Max Homa was plus 12 strokes gained putting last week at Riviera.
Yeah.
And he uses this technique where he gets his feet and he matches his feet to a digital level.
Okay.
So he knows what the percentage of tilt is on the ground. And so if it's 1%, he'll hold up one finger. So he knows what 1% feels like. And it feels like 2%, he'll hold up two fingers. And he holds it, and so it creates this kind of image to the side of the hole where he uses his dominant eye, and he'll kind of go, oh, well, that's 3%, so I should aim right here. So he uses his feet to read. He uses his eyes as well. You know, when I first started seeing him, he was like you. He couldn't determine curve. Because this is probably going to curve more than what you're seeing. So an interesting way to kind of figure out whether or not you can read. So would you still put the tee right there after having walked around and stood there and kind of felt like?
So when I was standing here and I did feel it lean more, I feel like it is like a little bit more than that.
Okay, so go ahead and move the tee. Move the tee where you would want to move it.
So I would want it like
okay.
right here. Or like right there.
Okay, so go back and look at it and make sure that that's exactly where you want, because I'm about to hold your feet to the fire. Step back about 6 feet and look at that tee again. Does that look pretty good?
I think that looks fine.
Okay. We created these plates for green reading, but people use them in block practice. So block practice is kind of doing the same thing over and over and over again. If you're working on your technique, I don't have a problem with it. I think there's definitely a place for block practice, but random practice is where we see better results. And it's just like it sounds, you know, just kind of going all over the place.
Kind of emulating like in-game situations.
Yeah, correct. So if you're thinking, okay, well, my block practice, I'm gonna shoot, 100 free throws. Well, that's very blocked. Like, I'm gonna go from these specific spots all the time. So you've read this putt. So the plate, it's gonna force you to aim where you said you wanted to aim.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have a choice at this point.
Yep.
So go ahead and take your setup behind this. I'm looking at your setup, I'm looking at your technique, I'm looking at everything. So get the blade of the putter. So now, like, you're flush up against it. And so now these lines are parallel to that line that's there. So we know the aim is good. So we're gonna take that variable out of the equation. So go for it.
Oh my God.
So the speed was a little soft. If the speed was harder, would it have gone in?
Potentially, I don't know, that one went left pretty.
Kind of curved a lot, huh?
Honestly, when I was hitting it from here, I was like, man, this might be incorrect. But yeah, it curved a lot.
So incorrect, you standing over it as if you were gonna actually putt it, and did all of a sudden the reed feel, so the tee, I'll call the tee the reed. Did the reed feel like it wasn't enough?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, well, grab the ball and let's try it again. And let's just adjust the speed. The stroke was actually pretty good because you got it through the gate.
Yeah.
Like, that was actually pretty good. So now we know that the aim is gonna be pretty close, so go for it. So I think if you hit it a little
more,
harder,
that could have went in.
it's gonna go in. So I would say that read is probably pretty good. So
Yeah.
one of the other things that we're gonna look at with you now, do I like the way you're holding it? Not really. But I also think the grip is not a fundamental.
Okay.
If the grip were a fundamental, every great player would hold it the same.
Yeah.
And nobody holds it the same. You've got guys that hold it like they were holding a pencil, or you've got guys that hold it like that. I mean,
Yeah,
there's all different kinds. I think because you're a piece of clay and we're gonna mold you, like let's get a grip where your hands are kind of uniformed at some point. And then let's get a different posture and let's align your body up differently in the second half of this deal.
Perfect.
But in looking at this, you've hit 2 putts, right?
Yeah.
They were both short. That's fine, whatever. They both got through the gate. So the tees, you can start the ball a degree or so off to the right or to the left and not hit the tees. So there is room for error.
Yeah.
But you actually have a pretty good start line. Like, I'm not shocked because you're an athlete. Okay, so you notice every time I'm lining it up, I'm putting the label on it and I'm lining it there.
Yeah.
Which you didn't do that. And the reason why I asked you before if you used a line on the ball, and we'll talk about that later, I think using a line on the ball is cheating. I think the tour should do away with the line on the ball. It's a training aid. You can't use sticks on the ground when you hit a shot. Let's go again and let's just try and adjust your speed literally like 5 inches further. So, okay, but that's the first time you hit the gate. Try it again.
Yeah. Guys, we have some promise.
So left tee again. If that becomes a problem when you try and increase the speed of the ball speed, do certain patterns show up? So putting, what's the goal? Obviously to make the ball in the freaking hole, right? If you want to be really good at putting, you have to control a few things. You have to control your line and you have to control your speed. And then the line has to be correct, the read. So I have other things too, like centeredness of contact is critical. That's critical in hitting a 7-iron. That's critical in hitting a driver. If you were to pick one fundamental in all of golf, it could be contact.
Yeah.
Like I have to hit the ball in the center of the club face. If I have to control my speed and I have to control my launch and I have to control my roll, well, I already talked about face angle. The path of the club is important, I think.
Yeah.
I think your eyes are really important because you might stand over this and go, well, that doesn't even look like it's aiming at the tee.
Yeah.
Like when you turn your head. And I think that would be a problem. Because if you're sitting there and you're like, well, dude, I'm reading this like this, but I stand over it and it feels like I'm aimed way to the right or aimed way to the left.
Yeah.
That
would be a problem.
Yeah. And that's something that we can calibrate.
Yep.
That's something that we can go, oh, well, the reason why it feels that way is because you're standing like this, or you're turning your head like that, or you're bent forward too much, or you're standing up too tall, or your eyes are over here, or your eyes are over there. I mean, that's all fixable super easy.
Yeah.
And the thing that's kind of cool for me is I think that tee's in the right spot.
Okay.
And now it's your job to
We've calibrated it correctly. Now I just need to execute it.
We put Jerome on Front Street right now. He's like, he missed the 2 tees the first time, but he's hit him the last 2 times. Go for it. Got it through. Good speed.
Oh, let's go.
Right? In essence, that's what putting is. What makes putting so hard is, so you're hitting balls on the range and you're like, oh shit, that hooked off the planet.
Yep.
And then the next one is like, oh my God, that's such a bad slice. But I hit him kind of solid.
Yeah.
Well, the ball's giving you feedback.
Yeah.
The problem with putting, like we have a device on the ground that's telling us like where we're aimed, where it's starting. But when there's nothing there, you hit a putt and you miss to the right or to the left, you don't know what happened. You don't know if it curved that way. You don't know if you were aimed that way. You don't know if you're aimed perfect. If it bounced, there's no feedback. The only feedback we get is if it went in the hole. And that's what makes putting so difficult. So the cheat code to golf is you get from 10 feet and in, you putt like a maniac. The cheat code is going from the hole backwards.
Yeah.
Like understand what breaking putts are, know what straight putts look like. And then if you moved off the green, you would go, oh, well, I'm over there and the hole is right here. Well, I don't want to chip the ball and hit it over here because now I have a downhill right to left breaking putt.
Yep.
That's going to be harder to make than if I chipped it to where kind of David's line, where it's kind of uphill and maybe inside right edge.
Yep.
That's an easier putt to make. So you go back to where we started from the beginning. Well, putting is line and speed, but if your line and speed is like kind of straight and uphill, like I don't have to worry about how hard I hit it because it's not going to go that far past the hole, hopefully.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen people rip it like, short putts, like have a longer putt for the second one, but those are beginners.
That's me.
Yeah, those are beginners. So I want to do another read.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, so we're going to give you this putt.
So right now I'm looking at this, and this kind of looked like it's bending. Like bending, but also kind of declining to the left a little bit. It looks like it's like this.
It's just, it's flat, but
Yeah.
it's, the ground is sloping this way.
Yes, from that angle.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I want you to come over here. Is the ball higher or is the cup higher?
All right, the cup's higher.
So you think that's an uphill putt?
Yes.
Go to the other side of the hole.
Oh man, okay. So I mean, from this angle, the ball looks higher than the cup.
So if you were to stand right there in the middle,
Right here.
facing me,
Yeah.
which way are you leaning?
I feel like I'm leaning this way.
Okay, come on this side.
I feel like I'm leaning to my right though.
Just go across the other side again.
Okay, so both are actually leaning this way.
Both are leaning this way.
Yeah.
Okay, we got one more thing that we're gonna do. I want you to start from about 10 feet away, and at a brisk pace, I want you to walk all the way to the edge of the green, pretty fast. Are you walking uphill or downhill? Walk the other way.
Let me walk, let me
Pretty
see.
brisk. Are you walking uphill or downhill?
This feels like I'm going uphill.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
now go
for
the other
sure.
way. Can you feel you're walking down now?
Yeah, 100%.
So that's a really good way to find out which way the ground is sloping. Just walk. You can do it for break also. So stand over there and walk this way across your putt briskly. You walking up or down?
For me, it's a little downhill that way.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I think it's like a puzzle. Like we're trying to figure out a puzzle. And then, you know, hitting the putt is actually putting the puzzle together. So if I'm walking downhill, this putt is gonna roll like
From left to right.
fast,
And fast.
from left to right.
Yeah.
So when you said, I need to hit this harder, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
because if the ball misses a hole, it's gonna be down there,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so the softer I hit it, the more curve I have to play. So immediately I'm thinking to myself, well, it's downhill and it's curving like this. There might be a little more curve than what my eyes are telling me.
Yep.
But if I go back here and I look, because now we're gonna do the tee placement,
All right.
and you're trying to figure out how much is this thing really curving. Go ahead and put your tee where you think the break is.
Like right here.
Okay. Walk around, do your like looking and double checking.
All right, let's see. It feels good. It feels good.
Looks good, feels good.
It looks good. Feels good.
So you may have a pattern that's different on left to right putts than right to left putts. And you might have a different pattern on right to left putts uphill as opposed to right to left putts downhill. We track all this stuff.
Okay.
So, okay, we're gonna put this device here again. When it comes down to it at the highest level, these guys all hit the ball pretty good, but they don't all putt very well. And I think that's where kind of the biggest separator is. So here we go, holding your feet to the fire again. Okay, so, oh, you made it. So the ball obviously started to the right because it hit the tee on the right. Started on line. It missed to the right, and it went how many feet past the hole?
2.5?
Almost 3 feet.
Oh man.
So if I hit a putt kind of far past the hole,
Yeah.
the capture rate of the hole shrinks. So if I hit a putt like kind of, it's moving a little bit,
Yep.
and it hits the edge of the hole, it's got a greater likelihood to lip out of the hole than hit the edge of the hole and fall in. So if you had hit a putt that's kind of slowing down when it hits the hole, well, I guess it's slowing down, but not slowing down fast enough
Yeah.
or early enough. If you hit that putt softer, it would have missed over here. Well, you started it towards the tee. So if it's missing over here, like that tee needs to go up here.
Yeah, exactly.
This is not right.
Yeah. After this one went in and it went farther and then dipped down, I was like, it's gotta be more left, and I knew instantly it was gonna be that.
And I would say for a beginner,
Yeah.
that's 100% people don't read enough break. And then their strokes start to get wonky because they know the ball needs to start at a different point, subconsciously they do it. They'll either aim there, or they'll pull it over there, or they'll push it over there. That's Russell Serber.
Oh.
He's a pro. So we're just gonna put another tee out here. I'm gonna leave yours in there, and I'm gonna put a new one in here. So look at the difference in where we're gonna aim this thing. I don't ever want to power downhill putts.
Yep.
Because
you can go like
just what happened to you, you hit it to almost 3 feet.
Yeah.
Well, not even all the tour players are perfect from 3 feet and closer.
Yeah.
If your longest putt past the hole were there,
Yeah.
you would make 1,000 out of 1,000 of those.
Yeah, probably.
Speed is always kind of anywhere from 6 to 12 inches past the hole, whether I'm putting uphill or downhill. Now, uphill, I allowed to hit it a little harder and it not get away from me. Hitting downhill putts hard, especially from 6 feet, you could do it, but man, if it misses the hole, you might have the same distance coming back. And then now you're 3-putting from 6 feet. Putting's hard, man.
That's the story of my life then.
On a downhill putt, I would always err on the side of reading more and hitting it softer so the ball doesn't get away from me. So now I just kind of moved it over because I was like, well, the ball missed this much low. It went that far by. Okay, I can see it went all the way over there. I'm just gonna add, a little more than a cup of break, and then we'll make our little adjustment, and then you can go for it.
Ooh.
So that went even farther past than the other one. What are you gonna do to hit it softer?
Go back less.
Okay.
Let's go.
So for all your viewers, that's pretty freaking good, man. Think about it. You got the first 2 through the gate on that putt over there, and you've hit the gate once on this putt with even more curvature. So what does that tell you about your ability to control the club and the ball?
Well, it tells me I have a chance.
Yeah, it's actually pretty good. Shockingly enough. No.
Let's go.
No, but it's actually pretty good. And I mean, I watch tour guys that get on these plates, they freaking rip the tees. Like the ball is hitting the tees, every other putt it's hitting the tees. You have pretty good facial awareness. So going back to putting again, okay, well, what's the most important thing? So I said line and speed. So what's the most important thing in terms of hitting the ball on its line? It's the putter face angle. Now we're cheating a little bit in the
for sure
practice
cheating,
drill,
yeah.
but that's okay for now. You're able to return the face where it started. That's what this is telling me, right?
That's a good thing.
That's a good thing. Now, as long as we're good at aiming, right? But you've hit a left to right putt and a right to left putt. The right to left read from 4.5 feet was good. Look at your first read here. Let me undo this so you can see. So I always put 2 tees out here, and I'll always leave the original one, especially for like a beginner.
Yeah.
And so if you come back here, you thought that the black tee was correct.
Yeah.
It's not even close. But we said, oh, well, if the ball missed over there and it went that far, then it makes sense that if it was going a little slower, then I would have to go over there. And this is how I would want you to practice your green reading. Mm-hmm. I asked Xander a long time ago, I said, if you could read 75% of your greens correct, would you take that for the rest of your life? And he's like, oh, hell yeah. 101 putting, like no stroke technique, no speed control, no anything, just how much is this thing gonna curve?
Yeah.
And I think that's a huge part of your practice. And so then if I go back and you go cheat code, well, I wanna go from scratch to scratch.
Yeah.
Right? Well, what's the fastest way for me to do that? You can't 3-putt a lot.
Or 4-putt.
Or well, you can't ever 4-putt. Like, I'm gonna want you to categorize every putt you hit, from what distance, like was it uphill, was it downhill, which way was it curving, and then over 20 rounds, because you're gonna start playing a lot. In time, you'll go, oh, like on every single one of these types of putts, I do this, I miss here, every time.
Yeah.
And so then you can come back to me and go, well, dude, why is this happening? Like, let's see what's happening when I see this type of putt. We want to putt well from 10 feet and in.
Yep.
That'll help us get rid of the 3 putts. But then like if I was putting from here, so now we're switching gears a little bit. So the ball makes a difference. And so I play this Chrome Soft X, which is a really good golf ball. It's like, it goes really far, but it has good feel. It's soft and it spins a lot around the greens. So it's a really good golf ball. And so the ball that you handed me is a Top Flight, and it's, generally speaking, it's harder. It sounds a little different. It's a little bit more clicky.
Yep.
And who knows, you might putt way better with this Top Flight than you do with a Callaway, but there's such a thing as ball fitting.
Yeah.
And it's not just for full swing. So one of these days, I'm gonna put you on this putting ball launch monitor called Quintic.
Okay.
And it is like game changer. And we'll find out what your impact ratio is and how fast the ball is coming off and what it's launching at and what it's rolling at. And is the spin axis tilting and is it going side? It's kind of gnarly.
Okay.
but we'll do that sooner rather than later, because you need to know, like, am I chipping my ball into the air? Because that's going to affect my distance control.
Yeah.
Right? So, okay. I wasn't really a big fan of your setup and your grip and whatnot. Okay, well, let's just talk about it for a second. So I think that we need to find positioning of your hands that feel comfortable on the grip and produce a relatively square face. Generally speaking, I'm just speaking like super broad stroke term, palms face each other.
Yep.
And the hands are relatively close together, so there's not spread apart, and the fingers aren't like super wide, so that the hands are pretty close and that the palms kind of face each other. Now that's just broad stroke for the general population. In order to do that, the thumbs go pretty straight down the grip. Now whether your right hand is lower or your left hand is lower, that doesn't make much of a difference to me. So if your palms are facing and your thumbs are down, then would it be okay to get this finger locking, or just like this, or take this finger and go over the top of these? That's called a reverse overlap, and you could even get this finger down even more. But now look at how tight your hands are together.
Yeah. So this is how I usually hit an iron, whatever, but this feels pretty solid.
This is a very common grip for putting. It's called a reverse overlap.
Should I do this then? I mean, it feels...
It's better than your ham and cheese sandwich grip that we were looking at earlier. Yeah, I call it ham and cheese sandwich grip because that's all it's good for gripping, a ham and cheese sandwich. So take your right hand off, and I'm gonna support this club. And then let's open up the fingers of this hand.
Like this?
Yep, just open them up all the way. So this lifeline, I'd like the putter grip and shaft to go in that lifeline.
Okay.
So what we did is we kind of turned your hand this way.
Yeah.
Right, so now go ahead and close your hand. And that should feel,
Yeah.
well, it's gonna feel different for sure.
For sure.
But we want stability in the club face. So if the shaft isn't in the lifeline and the grip gets strong, or turned to your right this way, you can manipulate the face. So this is a very mobile joint, and this is a very stable joint, and this is a very mobile joint.
Got it.
Right, because it's a ball joint, like it can move in any, but your elbow just bends, right?
Yeah.
And so if I can get you to get this grip in your lifeline, now all of a sudden when you hold the club with your other hand, go ahead and grip it, and you can do the reverse overlap. So now all of a sudden when you set the putter down, your wrists are almost like you're feeling like you're going to shoot a gun into the ground.
Yep.
And so now what I'm looking for too is, let's turn you towards this way. So now David's got down the target line. I'm trying to get the shaft to match the forearms. So I don't want it to be like that, and I don't want it to be like that. Like I want it to be, I guess maybe you'll feel a little bit this way.
Yeah.
But once this grip gets in the lifeline of your hands, or love line, I don't know what the hell you call that. So once we get that in there, from what I've seen, not just from you, from a lot of different players, is that the stability of the face is better.
Okay.
And that the path and the lie angle don't vary as much. So the lie angle is how the club sits on the ground. So if you zoom in on the putter head, so this would be a lie angle that would be too flat. And so the toe's up in the air, and that's too upright. So we want the putter to sole itself, relatively flat to the ground.
Yeah.
And there could be some bending going on. We might bend the putter to fit your your setup and your body better. But yeah, this just looks a hell of a lot cleaner. But does it feel like you're?
It feels a lot more stable. When I just made up that grip, I didn't even see that. I was just like, I'm just gonna grab it. But one thing that I've kind of realized with that other grip, I was kind of like, when I was bringing it back, it was kind of like shaking.
Wobbly. Yeah.
So, but this one, like, I feels more kind of fluid. Like I could just.
Okay. So another one of the things that I have players do, and you're no different, is when you grip the club straight out in front of you, if I'm pointing the club directly at this camera here, I would then pull in my arms and get my upper arms against my rib cage. Okay, so from here, all I have to do is bend forward, I flex my knees a little bit, and this is kind of where I want my setup to be. Because you're very straight armed.
Yeah.
So point the club straight at the camera. And now fold your arms into your body. So now your arms are tucked against your rib cage.
Yeah.
And now you forward bend from your hip joint. Okay, so I want stand up, and I want you to get your old grip and your old setup.
All right.
Okay, so don't move, stay right there. So right now we can see that the shaft is not quite matching the arms, and that's okay. So now what I want you to do is point the club here, take your new grip.
Oh man, I don't even.
Yep, so it's got to get in that lifeline. There you go.
Okay.
Okay, and now point, and now arms come in, and now forward bend. So keep going, keep going, keep going. Okay, so what, less of this putter grip on this side, so hopefully you'll be able to see that. Now, if you can get the putter to sole itself, so toe, there. So now the forearms and the shaft are the same line. I'll have to send you a couple of pictures or videos of like Emiliano and Charlie Hoffman and Xander, and you can see that their setups are more like you are right now, more forward bent. Your back is nice and flat, and that's good because most of the movement comes from thoracic spine.
Okay.
Like I don't want you wiggling around the club with your wrists.
Gotcha. So when I'm moving back, I'm not utilizing my wrist at all. I'm just basically this bent and then kind of bring it back like together.
So if you were looking at it from the front view,
Yeah.
you would see a triangle between your shoulders and your arms. And you would see that the butt end of the club during its movement would be pointed kind of at the same spot the entire time if this triangle moved equally.
Okay.
Right?
That's
so now, listen, if I'm hitting a putt all the way up to those stairs,
Yeah.
like I might have to load the shaft and use a little bit of wrist, because how much can I turn from my thoracic spine? Like,
Yeah.
it's
not like.
it's not like it's going to be a golf swing. So,
Yeah.
and then the other thing about it too is from your belly button on down, we're trying to stabilize that.
Got it. Got it.
So when you were making those practice strokes, you can go back and look at the video, even when you were just kind of making these half back, look at my hip, like you were moving your, like even now you did.
Yeah.
So what we want to do is we want to go ahead and rock back. So now there's no movement, but I'm also stabilizing you.
Yeah.
So it's much easier, but you can feel it.
So that's how the feel should be, more or less.
I don't want you to feel rigid and like stiff, but we're trying to like limit. This is a precision shot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Putting is about finesse and precision. It's not driver, jump off the ground. Like I'm not moving my feet like this and trying to hit the ball 300 yards.
Yeah.
I'm trying to hit it 3 feet.
Yeah. Exactly.
And so I'm trying to take power away, which I don't need my lower half when I putt.
Yep.
And then I'm trying to limit how much the face moves and the direction that the putter is actually moving on, which is going to take practice.
Yeah.
I mean, that thing is swinging freely in space. I mean, your hands are connected to it, but we've got to try and limit how much the putter path waves relative to the direction you're trying to hit it.
Yeah.
And then how much the face turns. And so if I'm doing this with my putting and I'm swaying around, that's also gonna influence where I hit it on the face.
Yeah.
And it could influence my power.
So basically trying to reduce the amount of variables.
I'm trying to reduce the amount of variables. I don't have an option when I'm hitting a driver. When I'm hitting a driver, I'm like pushing down into the ground and I'm jumping and I'm turning and I'm doing all these things to create leverage. And I'm not trying to do that with putting. So I would say in terms of your learning curve, when you're at home and you're sitting on the couch watching Golf Channel,
Full swing, let's go, baby.
full swing, you would just grab the putter, pick it up, grip it, put it down. Grab the putter, pick it up, grip it, put it down. I mean, do it 10,000 times. You should engage your core, not your back, to get in posture.
Yeah,
so if you learned how to tilt your pelvis this way or this way, right?
Yep.
This way, underneath,
Yep.
posterior tilt is the way you want to go, because now you're relaxing this and you're engaging this.
Where is my eyes looking? Like right above? So that, or like, is it a little below?
We're gonna find that out.
Okay.
I'm gonna give you a drill to figure that out today.
Okay, perfect.
So circling back, we did a very limited amount of green reading stuff.
Yeah.
And now we're getting into technique of how to even hold the putter and stand. And then your question was, well, where the hell do my eyes go? Because most people, you've heard, well, your eyes need to be perfectly above the golf ball. Well, that's not everybody.
Yeah.
Because when Xander gets his eyes above the golf ball, he
Yeah.
can't see.
Gotcha.
He can't line up his putter. So Xander's eyes are over the hosel or inside the golf ball a little bit.
Okay.
But I've seen guys, well, oh, you should never have your eyes outside the golf ball. I've seen guys that cannot aim at all when their eyes are over the golf ball or inside the golf ball, but they get a little bit outside the golf ball,
Money.
they can do it. Strokes start to change depending on where your eyes are and how the club is balanced and how you move. But we're gonna find out basically right now.
Yeah.
So here's a drill, and it's a simple drill, and I just call it the 3-ball drill. So we're gonna put 3 balls in a perfectly straight line. You need to do this
Every day.
every day. So I'm gonna walk straight this way. So I've got 1 ball, and I'm gonna take 3 small steps. So 1, 2, 3, I'm gonna drop a ball. Obviously 2 points is a straight line, right? So then I put my heel here, and I 1, 2, 3, and I drop another ball. So now I need to move one of the ends here so that this is in a perfectly straight line. So I'm gonna back up, and I'm gonna move this so that it's in line with the other 2.
Yep.
Now I can use my string line as well, but I can just get back, okay, so I'm gonna move mine just like a half a dimple over this way. And those should be in a relative, go almost all the way to the bushes. What eye dominant are you? Oh, here we go.
They're equally as bad. I'm actually legally blind without my contacts.
Okay. But you should have a dominant eye. I mean, most people do. Make a circle with your hands and look at my nose through the circle.
Okay.
Your left eye dominant. Look at a camera.
Okay, yeah. There it is.
So that's a huge advantage for right-handed players. He's cross dominant. So he's not right-handed and right eye dominant. That's most of walking life. If you go to UTC Mall and you did this test with everybody, I don't know the exact percentage, but everybody's gonna go right hand, right eye dominant, right hand, right eye dominant, right hand, right eye dominant. You're cross dominant. So why is that an advantage?
Well, if I'm like going like this, then I can see this way.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I'm the chosen one.
Seriously. Right eye dominant players, especially on a long putt, a lot of times they'll go to look because they have to. A left eye dominant player is going to go, I'm not changing my posture, I'm not changing anything.
Yeah.
So in a full swing, left eye dominant players can make a huge turn because they're looking at the golf ball out of their left eye. Back to our eye calibration drill, where should my eyes be? How should my setup be? These balls we know are in a perfectly straight line. We looked at it, they're all lined up.
Yeah.
So now we're not gonna putt this, but stand over it as if you were gonna putt it. Okay, so now when you look down this line of 3 golf balls, are they in a perfectly straight line? Or does the middle one look sideways?
This does not look like a straight line for me.
What do the balls look like?
They look like they're all on the right side of this ball. Look over there.
They're all over here.
Yeah.
Okay, so we know they're not.
Yeah.
But your appearance is that they are. So do you see how close your feet are to the golf ball?
Yeah.
So don't move. So we're just gonna do a little test here. There's where your eyes are. That's where your eyes are relative to the golf ball. So there are 3 golf balls outside.
Oh man.
So I want you to move so they're a golf ball inside. So you're gonna have to pick up your feet and move them back.
Oh man, okay.
So does that do anything with what you're seeing? Do they look more to the right, less to the right?
They look more in line than the other time, I would say.
What if you moved even farther away? And now get yourself bent over. So look at your elbows. Yeah, see that? So go pick the club up again, straight out in front of you and point. Point. Elbows in. Bend forward. Putter is flat to the ground. Now when you turn your head and look, where do those balls look like they're lined up?
Yeah, like right here, yeah. They all look like they're pretty much in line.
Okay, so don't move. Okay, so I'm just gonna drop this basically from the bridge of your nose. Your eyes are where Xander's are, just inside.
Xander, you gotta get on the channel.
Because that hit the shaft. Do you have alignment sticks in your bag?
I do not.
Okay, at Lowe's or Home Depot, they have these orange and yellow sticks and they're $1.99. Golfers use them for aiming. I would go, okay, well, my ball was this far away from my toes and put a little Sharpie line so that you'll never fuck up your ball position in terms of how far you are away. Because inevitably what's gonna wind up happening is you're gonna go to Europe and you're gonna go play golf.
Yep, of course.
And you're gonna take a 13-hour plane ride, you're gonna be on a red eye, and you're gonna go, hey, we got golf today. And you're gonna get off the plane and you're gonna be like stiff and you're gonna set up and you're gonna like to go through your warm up and hit balls and do all this stuff and nothing's gonna feel right.
Yeah.
Well, because you just got a freaking plane. It would be nice to know where your ball position is when you're seeing what you should be seeing.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%.
This is a full-on cheat code. Here's another thing, right? This is golf instruction in general. Like we have video cameras. Well, I have 240 frames per second in my pocket. And people are always filming swings. You should film your swing when you're hitting it the best you've ever hit it, and then put it away. And when you start hitting it like shit, you go, what was I doing when I was hitting it really, really good? That's not you yet. Like I'm saying, you're a year away from that. But if you had video, Tiger, he can't move the same, but I have video of Tiger from the year 1995 all the way to now from the same exact camera angles. You can't go back to 1995 and get Tiger's swing. I have it. High shutter speed.
Like,
so you can see the shaft, you can see the face angle. I'm the only one on the planet that has it. Well, me and a buddy of mine. And so we did this because my mentor is a guy by the name of Carl Welty. He said, if you film all the best players, you can find out what they all do the same.
Yeah.
And then those become fundamentals. Speed, centerness of contact, ball flight. Oh, I swing the club this way every single time to get this. John Rahm hits a little baby cut every freaking time. Best player in the world, it's not close.
Yeah.
Rory McIlroy, driver, right to left. Best driver of the golf ball on the planet. Hits it the farthest, can control his shape, but he does the same thing every time.
Yep.
And so when that gets off, right, he can go back and find it. Well, in terms of filming, or we don't even need to film. I go, well, I'm at the K and the E.
That's me. There it is.
And I know that I'm gonna see straight.
Yeah.
So if it gets off and you put this 3-ball drill down and you're like, okay, because I'm gonna do it every morning when I practice. I'm gonna go ball, 3 steps, ball, 3 steps, line them up. I don't care how long it takes.
Yeah.
It's not gonna take longer than a minute. You get over it and you're like, oh shit, that ball looks way to the left this time. I wonder what's going on with my setup. Am I turning my head? So go ahead and go through your whole setup thing again.
Like this, I think is like good.
Yeah. Well, let's do the ball drop again. So there's where your eyes are. Hits the same spot on the shaft. So now it's time to move, like actually hit a putt. I said earlier that you're gonna try and move this triangle together.
Yeah.
Without moving anything from belly button below, moving from thoracic spine.
Yep.
Okay, so 3 putting.
It's my nickname.
Short putts.
Yeah.
Like did you catch that little practice stroke you just made on video?
It was bad. I know.
Your whole body. So that's something that you have to pay attention to.
Yeah.
So you could go at your house. So this is just real life. I'm gonna work on this at home when nobody's watching. I'm gonna put my butt up against the kitchen table.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go, yeah, boom. Okay, where's the kitchen table? Oh, there it is. Boom. Okay. So like I'm trying to, I don't have great mobility from thoracic spine because I'm old and as dirt. And so I can't move very much, but I can practice like really stabilizing here. And so I'm gonna give you a little bit of a cheat code on the lower body.
Cool.
So go ahead and take your setup. Same thing, the whole full routine, yep. Point, in, There we go. Okay, what's my feel to stabilize my lower body? So I'm gonna get you to engage your glutes and feel like your feet are gripping the ground. So I want you to push away from keep pushing into both my, do you feel your glutes engage?
Yeah.
And now do you feel like your feet are gripping the ground?
Yes.
And now when you move, if you keep feeling that, now you can rock without moving this so much.
Yeah.
So I will tell guys to do that in the wind, because you can practice without doing all of that and keep your legs pretty still.
Okay.
Because I don't want you to be like
robotic.
Yeah, I don't want you to be fully like choked up, but that's a way you can kind of go, okay, well, boom. Oh, I can feel like my feet are grabbing the ground and I can feel my glutes are engaged and I'm forward bent and okay, I can just kind of rock. But that's like, my ass is getting tired.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's like, okay, well, I can feel what it feels like to not move. Can I relax and get that same feel?
Yeah.
Now, when it's blowing 30 miles an hour over at the Open Championship in England, and it's like, I gotta go,
get rock steady.
And then because otherwise I'm gonna get blown over.
Yeah.
And so that's a good one for like playing in elements.
Gotcha. And how far should my feet be apart? Like 6 feet, 6 inches?
I mean, Brandon Wu is one of my guys. He played at Stanford and he putts like this. And he's getting really good. Remember that name, Brandon Wu. He's a good one. Like, he's gonna be really good.
Boom, Brandon Wu.
But he putts with his feet close together. Ricky putts with his feet close together. Ricky Fowler is one of the best putters on the planet's ever seen.
Yeah.
And he putts with his feet close together. Xander's shoulder width apart. Tiger's probably pretty close to shoulder width apart.
Okay.
It's comfort.
Preference.
That part's comfort, I think.
Yep.
I don't know that that's super fundamental. Okay. Super basic speed drill. I just call it a ladder drill. What I'll do is we'll have a starting point. Okay. And I'm just gonna pick some very, very basic, because this is putting 101 for you.
Yep.
But interestingly enough, some of my guys were having problems with speed at Riv because the greens were really slow and they were kind of bumpy. They were having a hard time getting the ball to the hole, and I told them, I'm like, well, why don't you guys just do some ladder drills, like basic shit, to understand like, how hard do I need to hit a 10-footer uphill? Okay, now it's 15 feet. How hard do I need to hit that? Okay, and let me turn around and go downhill. So literally you're just gonna go, okay, well, what's 10 feet? So 1, 2, 3 steps and a foot. Now, you could get a tape measure and do it if you want.
Yep. Bryson
would get a tape measure because he wants everything to be perfect. He wants everything measured.
Yeah.
And that guy?
He's good.
Yeah.
He's good.
Yeah. The guy's really good. So I go, okay, well, the next one is 5 feet. So if I take 2 steps, 1, 2, and I put it at my heel instead of my toe, that should be around 5 feet. And so that's 15-footer. 1, 2, put it at my heel. 1, 2, put it at my heel. So I've got 10, 15, 20, 25, and let's just eyeball it and say, just for the sake of time, you've got 5 balls there and you're gonna go to the first target. I'm not concerned about your dispersion from right to left.
Okay.
I'm concerned with your dispersion from front to back.
Yeah.
Because this is freaking 3-putting, dude. Because once you get out to that long one up the hill, I don't want to see more than 12 inches of dispersion from front to back.
Yeah, okay.
That would be like a really good goal.
For today.
Well, that's a good goal forever.
Oh God, okay.
Yeah, because like if it's within like 6-inch pass or 6 inches in front, you're never gonna 3-putt. Okay, break down your practice day.
So I would go to the range right now and get like 100 balls at a time. Basically film myself, start with a 60, hit like 5 to 10, 56. And these are the only things in my bag right now. And then go to 9, 8, 7, 6, 5.
And how long does that take?
For 100, over an hour for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. And then I'll go to a driver, hit like the last couple, and go back to a 60. And then from there, I'll just get another 100 or 200 balls and then kind of focus on the ones that just...
So you're looking at like 3.5 hours of full swing stuff.
Yeah, so far, yeah.
Yeah, 3.5, sometimes even 4 hours of full swing.
Yeah, and I haven't even started practicing chipping or putting at all.
Right.
Yeah, so.
And so this is what makes golf so hard.
Yeah.
Because it's like 7 games in one. In golf, there's putting, short putts. There's mid-range putts. Let's call mid-range 8 to 15 feet, 20 feet. Then there's lag putting. So you have 3 facets of putting.
Yeah, I know. Lag being just above. Just a lot.
Yeah, let's just say like 25 feet and longer, 20 feet and longer. So then you get to chipping. And so there's a chip and run shot, which could be used with a pitching wedge, a 9-iron, an 8-iron, a 7-iron, a 6-iron. And that's a ball that flies very little and rolls a lot. And then there's pitching, which is a little higher, softer. Let's say it flies halfway and rolls halfway. And then there's a lob shot, and let's say that flies 3/4 of the way and rolls 1/4 of the way. And then there's a flop shot that flies all the way there and stops. Like it's straight up in the air, and so it's not a very long shot. So chipping, pitching, lobbing, flopping, and that's off grass.
Yep.
But then there's short side, green side bunker shots.
Yeah.
Let's call those 10 yards and closer. Are you getting where I'm going with this?
Should have stick to basketball.
Right? And so you have like, 20-yard bunker shot, and then you've got 30-yard plus bunker shots, which are really hard, man.
Yeah.
Like your contact has to be so good and your technique has to be so good. And then you get into short irons, mid irons, long irons, 3-wood, and driver.
Yeah.
They're not necessarily different swings per se, but there's different elements.
Yeah.
Like a short iron, the angle of attack is steeper.
Yeah.
And a driver, you're hitting
Up.
1 or 2 degrees up. Well, average tour player, I guess it's 1.2 down. You get what I'm saying? It's on a tee, and it's a longer swing, and it's powerful and all that.
Yeah.
So you have all these different types of games, like combined into one game. And so you go, well, I'm starting my golf, and I'm gonna tell you right now, if you have 5-6 hours or 8 hours, how many hours a day are you gonna practice?
I've allocated about like 5 to 8 hours.
Okay. I would say 4 hours. If you're gonna practice for 5 hours, 4 of it right now would be putting.
All right. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Got it.
Cheat code. If you become elite on the greens within 6 months, you'll be able to score. If you're making putts, if you're hooping,
Yeah.
your score is gonna be better.
Yeah, 100%.
Then if you go, I'm gonna become elite at chipping. Just chipping. Not pitching, not lobbing, not flopping.
Yeah.
Chipping. Your score is gonna get even better. Okay, now I'm gonna learn how to pitch the ball. Now I'm gonna learn how to lob it. Now I'm gonna learn how to spin it and hit like balls that check up and check up to the right or check up to the left. Because you can do it. Like,
Yeah, 100%.
And then you learn how to frickin' send driver straight.
And we'll get there.
You'll go from scratch to
Hopefully scratch.
But most people, they just want to hit balls. I would say flip it.
I'm not like that for sure. I just want to get the lowest score possible.
But so if you want to get the lowest score possible, you cannot 3-putt often.
Ever. Let's try that.
Well, you're gonna 3-putt. It's just hopefully it's not when you're gambling for a lot of money.
It fills with me.
Yeah, right. So we're gonna go full setup process and go to the first
Okay,
tee.
let's do this.
So point, elbows in, forward bent, eyes are kind of, yeah, dude. And so now look at the target and just make a stroke that you think is going to get to the first tee.
Oh my God.
That's okay, so what? It doesn't matter. Full routine, set up again, and you know now that you need more energy. And more energy is a little bit of a longer backswing.
Yeah.
You don't need it, just a little bit of longer backswing and try and keep that same pace.
Okay.
Oh, that's cash money, dude.
Oh, that's pin high. Let's go.
That's cash.
Let's go.
Now, okay, repeat it. So let's say you take 6 golf balls and you do your drill and you go 10 feet, 10 feet, 10 feet, 10 feet, 10 feet, 10 feet. 6 to 15, 6 to 20, 6 to 25, 6 to 30. And then you did it again. And you're like, okay, uphill, I'm pretty good. And then you reversed it and you go downhill. That's kind of block practice.
Okay.
But then if you wanted to randomize it, you can go, like, let's say you did 3 weeks from now, you're pretty good at all the distances, let's just say. So then you go, okay, the first one is gonna go to 15 feet. Boom, let's see how I do. The next one's gonna go to 30. Let's see how I do. The next one's going to 10.
Yeah.
The next one's going to 25. The next one's going to 10. The next one's going to 30. The next one's going to 15. The next one's going to 20. Like you can change your spots and see how well you hit them randomly.
Yep.
You could even like do a program on your phone to do randomness.
Yep, 100%.
And go, well, there's 5 targets. Target 1, target 2, target 5, target 2, target 1, and just skip it around and have somebody else choose it. So, okay, so now,
situation.
what have I done to you? I do this a lot to my students and they don't know why. I just talked and got you completely out of your rhythm.
You're basically icing the kicker.
I'm icing you. So it goes, same, because you don't know this yet.
I don't even know.
Boom.
Yeah.
Forward bend, elbows are close. Shaft matches the forearms. Look at your target. Yeah, don't forget about looking at the target. So short, but from the one, I mean, it's the, if the hole were the tee, like, you're probably gonna make that putt.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough.
I hope. Yeah, man. I'm happy already with the setup.
Oh, no, I basically stopped the follow through.
Okay.
I actually wanted to ask you a question on that. So what is like my follow through look like? Is it going to be like just this, like it's just pretty, just up?
Let's pick something super simple.
Yeah.
The length on either side, the percentage of it. 60-40.
60-40?
So if you take it back,
Like that.
the total length of the stroke, 60% backswing, 40% follow through, or 55-45.
Okay. That makes sense.
But why do I want the follow through shorter than the backswing? Because I hear a lot of people say you need to accelerate through the putt.
Yeah.
The best players in the world don't accelerate through the putt. Let's go back. I got a bell curve. And so there's acceleration, peak speed, and deceleration. I want the ball to be struck at peak speed. If I miss peak speed, but I'm very close to it on either side, I'm gonna be close, right? So if it's accelerating just barely towards the top or decelerating just barely towards the top, I'm gonna be very close to my peak speed. I don't care if I'm hitting a 3-footer or a 30-footer, doesn't matter. So if I'm close to peak speed, my speed control should be good. All other things being equal, and all those other things, we'll get to that. But if I hit it on the acceleration side, really early in the acceleration,
Yeah.
or late in the acceleration, now my gap between those two is pretty big, and my speed's gonna suck.
Yeah.
I don't wanna see this, because do you see how much acceleration there was to that putter?
Yeah.
And I don't wanna see this, because that's too much deceleration. So this is the way I kind of make sense of it. If you're driving in your car towards a wall at 30 miles an hour, and you hit the wall 3 different ways. I'm hitting the wall at 30, hammering on the gas. It's 30 miles an hour.
Yep.
It's gonna have a different effect on my car and the wall than if I hit the wall at 30 miles an hour, slamming on the brake. I'm not gonna do as much damage, I'm still gonna do damage.
Yeah.
But if my mass is speeding up at 30,
Yep.
not slowing down at 30. And then I'm taking my foot off the gas pedal and off the brake, and I'm just cruising into that wall at 30 miles an hour. That's how I want to hit a putt. I want the putter to cruise into the ball. I don't want it to accelerate, and I don't want it to decelerate. I want 0.5 miles an hour of deceleration to a maximum of 1.5 miles an hour acceleration. When we get on Quintic, you'll understand what these numbers are.
Gotcha.
So the ones that you were short, it was like kind of a long backswing, and you're like, yeah, it's too long, right?
Yeah.
And so you'll get to the point where you go, like DeChambeau he puts a yardstick on the ground. And he knows with his acceleration how many inches he needs to take it back to hit it 10 feet,
Yeah.
11 feet, 12 feet, 12 and a half feet. It's down to a science with that guy.
Gotcha. That's where I want to get to.
Yeah. What you need to find out from all these different distances, how far you need to take it back to then let the putter cruise into the golf ball.
Gotcha.
Did you film that stroke?
Oh God, I know. Every single time.
But
Goosey.
dude, I'm pointing it out because when you go back and look at all this film, you can go, God, I gotta remember that.
Yeah.
But that's why I'm making you do the setup every single time, so it becomes, you grab it and you just go, oh, I'm here. I know what it feels like. So even in that little practice stroke, his knee, you'll go back and you'll look and, oh my God, my knees are moving.
Oh God.
But that's why, just like full swing stuff and chipping and pitching, this needs to become, well, your muscles don't have memory. People say muscle memory. Your muscles don't, your brain understands movement patterns.
Yep.
And those movement patterns become stronger and stronger and stronger the more you do them.
Yeah.
And you never lose the old movement patterns. Daniel Coyle, The Talent Code, have you read that one? He wrote this book about how all these people learn and become great.
Yeah.
Well, it's this myelin sheath and information pathways and all this stuff in the brain. Your muscles don't have little memory chips.
Yeah.
Your brain controls everything. So if we can make that movement pattern super solid, then there's less to worry about from the technical side and more to worry about green reading. Starting that frickin' ball on line at a good speed with a good roll. That first part, there's a lot of information in what we did in the last 2 hours.
Yeah, no, it's been awesome. It's been awesome. That's why these are here, so I can just review the film.
Yeah, but from an instruction standpoint, not just for your project.
Yeah.
Like, dude, if you want to get good, you gotta do this.
Oh, this is not a project. This is my life now.
Yeah. So this is a very simple drill. We'll leave it here because you can't practice this one enough. And then we'll get to other ones that are really good too.
Perfect.
All right?
Awesome, man. Derek, my boy, let's go.
Yeah.
All right, so that's a wrap for this video. Definitely leave that like for Derek. He's gonna be on this channel. He's gonna be bringing me to the promised land from scratch to scratch golf, hopefully. 3 months. I'm just kidding. But stay tuned, subscribe. Like I said, I'm posting every single day on this channel. We're gonna be grinding every single day. So with that, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.
Let's go. Let's go.